to the portal so that you are able to see it, okay?
Yes.
And then I also gave you in class that criteria for grouping goods. Criteria for grouping goods. And then lastly, various specifics to look for when inspecting goods. Inspection of goods. I think there's something that we did like that in class. But so this is just the introduction, and just to scroll down a bit on it, you can be able to see some activities. There you'll see 2 activities. Actually, the one is just reading the material that I'll attach there later on, and then the notes that are there. I'll add more activities so that you can be able to see them later on in that particular area. So let me share some notes in the main topic itself so that we can be able to understand what it entails. So just a moment, I'm going to share it. Let's share another page. So is there any question you may have as far as this is concerned? Any questions so far, Frida? Frida, any issue so far?
No.
Yeah, I really loved your class. I really wanted you guys to get distinctions, but I wonder what demon got into people. That's
Wi-Fi problem and money.
What? The Wi-Fi problem and money. What's the problem with Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi you can actually log in with maybe 15 bob. You buy the Tunukiwa bundles and you go on. You get bundles of 150. It can give you an hour of interaction. And I thought the university was giving bundles to everyone. What happened?
Some of us are not able to access the bundle.
Why? Why were you?
That information was invalid.
But it was invalid. But did you inform the HOD you are supposed to liaise with him whenever there is a problem? No? In case you have any problem, you liaise with your HOD and you inform them that you cannot be able to get the bundles or the credit, so that it's sorted out instead of just sitting there and waiting. Okay. So next time you have any issue, just come about, ask, and then you'll be able to get assistance. So let me show you that particular page where the notes are. I believe it's about sharing. Yes, I think it's displayed. It's indicated there. Topic 4 notes. That's what is ahead of. I'm going to be highlighting so that at least you can see a few things. So there are the first 2 objectives that I had shown you earlier. One is a consideration before unloading of materials from a transport. But of course, We receive materials from external suppliers, that is, these companies that supply goods to us. We receive materials for purpose of production activities, and sometimes production department also send materials to the stores department. And at times also we have central store system. Remember when we were looking at types of storage, we talked about centralized store, decentralized stores system. So you find that you have a sub store which receive material from the central store. So you remember the sources of material that are normally received by storekeeping department is from external suppliers, from production section, or from central stores, in case there is that impress system of using stores of storage of goods. Now, another thing I thought that you're going to look at is factors to consider or consideration before unloading materials from transport. What do we consider before unloading materials? There are key things that are important that need to be taken into consideration. Here, materials have come and they need to be unloaded. What are the key issues? Before you unload, you need to make sure some aspects are important, because storekeeping is a very sensitive area. Someone can say that I delivered items and drop them at you. So if you are not very careful, they can implicate you that they delivered, but they did not deliver. And also you need to know the source of this item. So these factors are like that where, if the storehouse is also known as warehouse. If the warehouse is the consignee, what is meant there by this is that is the store which items have been brought to the one to receive the item. That's one thing that you have to make sure first. If someone comes with items, first of all, where was it to deliver those items? That is one thing that need to be considered. And then, what about the documentation? Are they clear on that? You can bring and say that these items were to be delivered to this place. Then let them show you the documents indicating that these items are to be brought in this particular store. So you need to consider that. You need to clarify that by looking at the documentation, that these items are brought over and they were to be handed into this particular store where you are the storekeeper. Secondly, at which point these items are to be delivered. If they're for a particular delivery point, then make sure they are taken to that particular point. Another thing is that are the goods hazardous in any way? Are they dangerous items? Because there is a way in which you handle hazardous items from ordinary items. So that's something that must be taken very seriously, because they can bring goods and then they turn out to be risky, dangerous, that can endanger the life of the storekeepers and the life of any user. Then you also ask yourself, is there a possibility of avoiding double handling? Double handling is that the materials are brought into the organization to the storehouse, but they are material that can be delivered directly to the user point. So instead of unloading them at the stores and again now trying to look for another transport to deliver them at the usage point, there is no point of doing that. So you can actually deliver them at the point of production. Let's say bags of cements have been brought to the store, but those bags of cements are required at the work site, at the construction site. Instead, just receive them that they are 20 or 30 or 100 bags of cement that have been brought. Instead of dropping them at the store, let them take them to the construction site. Then, of course, there's also another thing to consider. Materials. Are there materials to be given priority? This is meant by those items that are needed urgently or urgently required, then they must be handled with the urgency that are due to them, and so that you don't waste time handling items that can wait, but then ignoring those that are needed immediately. Then, of course, you also need to understand the appropriate unloading method. So it is the determination, look at the type of items. What are they? Fragile items? Are they cartons? Are they bags of maybe of produce, for example? How do you handle them? It's very important. You cannot handle fragile items like glass materials the same way you handle bags of produce, for example. So it is important to determine the best handling methods. Now, the documents used for accompanying delivered materials, these are also very important because you're going to look at those documentation to determine the nature of materials brought in, where they're supposed to be delivered, who's supposed to receive them, the quantities that have been delivered. So you have delivery note, consignment note, or packing note. These are three different items: delivery note, consignment note, and packing note. They give information about the supplier, the quantity of goods supplied, and who's supposed to receive them. Then, of course, the issuance note. This is also very important because you need to get this note because you cannot just take items without the issuance note. It's very important. Who gave you these items to deliver them? That is also very important. Daily production sheets. This relates to the production department in case these items are delivered from a production department. Then therefore, it is important to ensure that the quantity that is produced is indicated in a production sheet so that it can be ascertained what number of items are there. Now, those are important aspects that need to be considered. Let's proceed to the next page. These are continuation of the documents. Now, there must be note to indicate the following. In case of damage, there must be a note to indicate that one item is damaged in one way or another. Or we ordered 20 items, but we only managed to receive 19 items. That also must be indicated so that when they are delivered, that information is provided for the storekeeper. There are also some very important conditions. Goods received notes. These are goods received note is very important. It's a copy which is normally retained by for record purposes at the stores, and also a counter for it given back to the deliverer of the items. So those are very important as documents. Then we also have purchase order, delivery notes, and given to various groups. And those notes are very important in handling items. Receiving procedure. Receiving procedure. So let's look at receiving procedure. Take a look at them. I'll post this note on the portal so that you are able to check on them, okay? So I'll post them so that you'll be able to get them. So let's look at the receiving procedure. In a moment, is there something that you have not understood from the first area, factors to consider when unloading?
No.
You can ask a question.
Good.
You okay?
Yes.
Oh, very good. So if you are good like that, then I normally give you a question. One question. State 3 documents that may be used in delivery of goods. You can write on the public chat. Do you have a public chat?
Yes.
Yeah, state 3 items that may be used in delivery of goods. You can put them on the public chat. Hello. Yes, I think we can continue. I was updating the top up. Now, let's look at this procedure for receipt of goods. What you can say as regards this, what kind of steps do you need to take when receiving items? One, you unload the items and check the consignment. Consignment are the goods that have been brought to your store, for example. So first of all, unload them, and then you check. Secondly, unpack. You unpack, you open the package and be able to see what is actually in those packages. And then you do your inspections. And then after which you can complete the receiving report, indicating that the number of items that are received are of this nature. These items are in good condition. This number is in bad condition. They are of this color, they are of that, and so that you are able to give that report when reconciling your documents. Then lastly, you store or deliver to user. The items that you can take to the storage directly straight away, but there are items that you can deliver to the user, especially if they were required immediately. So those are the main procedures that one needs to take. As regards inspection of materials or inspection of goods, a number of methods can be used. So as regards inspection of goods, a number of methods can be used. And these methods are as follows. One, the first method is physical counting. You count one by one. There are items that you must be able to count them. If, for example, you receive, like you are told that 20 chairs have been delivered to the store, you need to count them one by one to ascertain that they are actually 20. Then physical checking. This is physical checking is to ascertain or to find out if there are any defects or any damage on the materials. You ensure that each and every item, is it faulty in any way? Is there a problem with that item in any way? And that's a very important aspect, because you can say that 20 chairs were brought, but you did not inspect, you did not physically check whether they are right, only to find out that 2 chairs are broken. Then you can be pinned down and told that we brought chairs in good conditions. And how comes you say that 2 are broken? Now it is your responsibility. So it's always important to find out that there are in good physical condition. Then sometimes the physical checking might require an expert if a material is a technical material. Like, for example, you receive computers. How would you know that these computers are in good condition? Are they working? Or if they are laptops, for example, if they are maybe smartphones, how would you know that they are in good working order? So it might require somebody who has got technical know-how to check them. Then practical test is the third one. Practical test. That is, a material can be tested to determine whether it is reliable or not. For example, if you receive computers, are they working? Are they in working condition? Or if you try to put them to power and to boot the computers and then they are not booting, then that is not in good working order. Chemical analysis relates to those items that require experiment to be carried out to check whether they are in good condition. So if materials are composed of chemicals that can be tested, for example, drugs, for example, industrial chemicals, they can be tested whether the components they supposed to have constituted that item are really the same. So that is very important. Another method is, these are common one, measuring and weighing. We can measure items in terms of sizes, dimension to determine whether they are the right dimensions, or weigh items to determine whether they are the right weights according to requirement. If you're told that you need 100 bags of 90 kilogram sugar, for example, or 90 or 100 kilogram, you have to weigh them to determine whether they are actually 100 kilograms. Feeling is to test by hand to get the texture of an item. Smelling also to be able to get the scent that is produced by that particular item. Let's look at inspection system. Inspection system, we talk of 100% inspection. This is whereby you inspect all the entire consignment of products. Everything that has been brought in, you look at it one by one. Second method is, our system is sampling. This is normally necessary when items are quite a number and it might not be realistic to look at each item. So therefore, you take a small number, which will be a representative of the entire consignment of goods or items or materials. So what are the challenges with 100% inspection, or what's called disadvantages of 100% inspection? Disadvantages of 100% inspection is that it may be difficult to do when materials are quite many. You may not be able to do it effectively with so many items. It can be costly to conduct, and of course increases the workload of the storekeepers. So you need to take those into consideration so you can be able to check out on these highlights. Sampling inspection is whereby you take a small quantity of item and inspect them, or you pick at random from an entire batch for inspection. Then the result of inspection can be applied to the rest of the items. So you, like how they do for maize, for example, at Kenya cereal boards, for example, what actually happens is that they don't test all the bags whether they are free from aflatoxin or they are okay, they have right moisture content. Just take a sample of from maybe a few bags, and then they use that as they apply that result to the rest of the items. Now, sampling system are necessary under certain circumstances, and those circumstances are as below. When do you use the sampling system? Use the sampling system when you receive large quantities of materials. When you receive large quantity of materials. Secondly, when materials are required urgently, therefore you don't have time to check all of them, you can use sampling system. Or when the firm wants to cut cost of inspection, because it may be costly to inspect every item. So in order to cut cost, it is important to sample, to take just a small number. And another circumstance is when materials are homogeneous. Homogeneous, it means that they are similar, they look alike. They are more or less the same items. So you can actually take a small sample to give you a representative numbers. Now, another occasion is when inspecting an item requires that you destroy it. Inspecting an item requires that you destroy it. Like if you want to test that an egg is okay, that a tray of egg is okay, you'll have to destroy it. You have to break that egg to determine whether it is actually in good condition. So are you going to destroy all the eggs? So in this case, you can be able to sample. Then lastly, when costs associated with accepting defective material can be overlooked. For example, if you believe that out of a tray of egg, maybe only 1 or 2 eggs can be damaged, maybe can be spoiled. Let's say in 30 eggs of a tray, only 1. If the average of 1 egg per tray is bad, then that cost can be overlooked. Or out of 10 trays, for example, you realize that only 2 eggs may be bad out of 10 trays. 10 trays has 300 eggs. Only 2 pieces of eggs may be, but that cost can actually be overlooked. So in that case, you may use sampling methods. Now, I want to put a question to you. What are the reasons that may call for rejection of materials after inspection? What are the reasons that may call for rejection of materials? Now, this is our homework that you're supposed to do right away, okay? What are the reasons that may call for rejection of material after inspection? Now, give me at least 5 reasons that may call for rejection of materials after inspection. You have inspected items, and what would lead you to rejecting those items? I'll put that question there, but I'm also going to fix it on the portal, okay? So that you can check on it. So just write your answers there, or you can actually tell me and actually state them. After inspection, what would call for a rejection of materials? Yes. Frida. And call for rejection of materials. Yes, Frida. I can see you are writing. If the goods are expensive. No, this is about inspection. Checking whether they're in good condition or not. It's not about price, because the items are already been brought into the organization. They have been brought to the store. It's not about the prices. It's about you are looking at those items and you realize that you are not going to accept them. What could be the reason? You are in a store, you work in a store, and you have inspected goods, and you say that these goods, I am not going to accept them. What do you think? Why?
If the inspected goods were spoiled.
If they were spoiled, damaged,
There was a mixture of different goods.
If
the goods that you are to buy were mixed up.
If they are mixed up items, when what do you mean by mixed up?
When you're going to look at them,
Find
out that some of the goods are mixed up with other goods that you never wanted.
Good. Yes. Yeah. Good.
If the goods are of different quantities.
Yeah, that's a good reason. That's a good reason. Very good trial reader. That's very good. Yes, in many cases, when you receive materials that are defective, defective materials, it means they have a problem. Then you cannot accept that material. You get items that are damaged. You cannot accept the items. You receive materials which are not the specific items you ordered for. You will not accept them. In other words, you wanted, like for example, computers or laptops that have got 500 GB hard disk, but they brought ones with only 250 GB hard disk. That it fails to meet the specification. You wanted laptops with webcam and other specs, for example, but they didn't bring the one with such specification. Then you will reject that materials. Then another occasion is when materials are delivered late after you had ordered for them to be delivered. Late delivery, you can reject materials. Or when they are brought earlier than you had required. Let's say they are brought too early before you had created a space. You can actually reject, you can send them back. Of course, what you said, that when the quantities are in excess or less, you can reject items. You ordered a specific quantity, but they have just brought you quantities is not enough. Then you can actually reject the product or the materials. Very good, very good. That's a good trial. So let's proceed by looking at the reasons that you may, yes?
How may you put this point of if they are mixed up?
Oh, yes. And that is when you can say that items may be contaminated or delivering items that were not requested. When items are delivered, when items that were not requested are delivered, or items delivered include materials that were not ordered. Items delivered include materials that were not ordered. It can be rejected. You can reject the whole of that batch, for example. So you can put it that way. So all that you'll be able to add them up there so that you can do. So materials may be received in shortage as a result of the following. Sometimes you might agree to receive material, especially if the quantities are not the one that was ordered. If the quantity that arrives at the store are not the ones that was ordered, let's say you ordered 100 units, but because of a circumstance or an occurrence, some items were stolen on the way and they only received 80 items. So if there was a disappearance as a result of theft, you know, the delivery person was attacked on the way and items were stolen from him, then you can receive the less quantities, taking into consideration that occurrence. Secondly, there may be package of less quantity by mistake. If items were packaged by mistake or unintentionally by the supplier, he did not set out to package like that, but he packaged unintentionally or by mistake, then it can be accepted. But of course, this communication must be given back to the supplier to bring that item which is missing. In such cases, you can accept the items, but of course, that information must be passed back to the supplier. Another occasion is where materials such as maybe gases or liquids, the quantity reduced due to exposure to the environment. When maybe they are exposed to the environment, then the condition of those items change, or there is a melting. You wanted solid, but because of overexposure to heat leads to melting of maybe fats or those items that are sometimes required in a liquid or in solid form. So those elements need to be taken into consideration. Or maybe an accident can lead to damage of certain items, but of course that information must be passed to them so that everything be reconciled. Now, let's look at factors that enhance effective receipt of materials. Factors that enhance effective receipt of materials. I think this is what we're going to look at so that I give you a few work to take home. One, factors that enhance effective receipt of materials have highlighted there. with the green color so that we can be able to. Now, factors that enhance effective receipt of and inspection of goods depends on whether the company has got adequate facilities that ensures that they effectively inspect those items that have been received. So one thing is very key is that are there equipment that can be used for inspection? Are there equipment that can be used for inspection? Two, are there adequate space to keep those items that are to be received? That's very important. Now, thirdly, is there marshalling area? Marshalling area is an open area where materials can be assembled, they can be counted, they can be inspected so that they can be stored or delivered to the respective user departments. So that area is very important. You find that they are in most warehouses or in go-downs or stores, for example, you find that the receiving area is quite large, an open space. That is on purpose that when items are brought, they can adequately be inspected, they can adequately be arranged, prepared, and then delivered to the various storehouses or taken to delivered to the user departments. So that's very important. Then very important as well is security facilities. What are the security measures that the business has in place to help in handling these materials when they come, so that you might not experience losses of items when they are being received? Like, is the area adequately secured? Do you have scanners to check if an item is being taken away illegally? There are manpower to keep watch, like there are manpower to keep watch. Just a moment, I fix power. Yeah, I was fixing power on the laptop. So security facilities are very important. So you need to be able to, if you are not well manned, ensure that you have adequate manpower or security to help in ensuring that the safety of items that are delivered. Are we together? Another thing, you must have relevant documents. You must have relevant documents that will enable you to handle the items. For example, copies of purchase orders, goods received notes, for example, that will help you to record the items that have been received, determine those that are damaged, those that are in shortage, those that are in excess, and what have you. So all those documentations are very important and must be taken into consideration. Another thing, do you have enough staff to carry out the receiving activity? The staff members, you need to ensure that there are people who will be able to help you handle those key items that are important, so that your manpower. So manpower, like for example, those who are inspecting, those who are handling the documents, those who are moving the items from the marshalling area or the receiving bay to the storage point, or those who are picking items to take them to the user departments. So those are very important aspects to consider as far as effective receiving of goods are concerned. Are we together? Is there any question up to that point? Good. If you have no question, then I think we have discussed enough for now. What work I'm going to give you is this. Outline the criteria for grouping goods. Outline the criteria for grouping goods. This one I'll put as an assignment on the portal, okay? I'll put it as an assignment on the portal so that you can access it, and then you'll outline those criteria for grouping goods. Yeah, I'll give it to you as an outline of for grouping goods. So this is how I'm going to fix it. But don't worry, the notes, I'm going to attach them on the portal so that you'll be able to see them. Meanwhile, you can go to, or just let me show it to you so that you'll be able to see it. You'll go to quiz to topic 4. Topic 4. You'll find there topic 4. Let me share the page. You go to topic 4. You go to topic 4. I think you see that page.
Yes.
Yeah. So you'll find the quiz topic 4. This one, you just click on it. But then I'll also add there an assignment.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry, the page suddenly cut off. Okay. Right. I think I'm back. Okay. So let me just share what I was sharing, and then I can let you free to so that we do another thing. So I'll put for you that question there so that you can be able to look at it. So outline as many as possible criteria for grouping goods. Grouping goods or materials, grouping materials. In a store, in a storehouse. So you outline the criteria for grouping goods in a storehouse. So you can, for example, you can group goods according to shape. So that's shape is one of the criteria. So you state shape, and then you put a statement about shape. So you can be able to do that. And this one you can actually do it somewhere and drag and drop here. But that's how you can actually send a file. It's also open for you. You can do it anytime and complete it. So the criteria for grouping goods. And I'll add other aspects to a quiz. You can see there is a quiz there. You just click onto the quiz and you can be able to put your answers on that open space that you'll find there. So that's also what you're gonna do. And right, I think we can end there unless you have any question that you would like me to answer. Unless you have any question. Do you have any question? Oh, so you are good to go.
Yes.
You are currently the only person in this conference.